The first time the alarms sounded, everyone assumed it was a malfunction. On the colony world of Kareth-9, malfunctions were almost impossible. The alien settlers had spent decades perfecting their systems. Every sensor, every climate regulator, every inch of soil beneath the massive glass dome had been engineered with mathematical precision. So when a small brown creature suddenly appeared on the central plaza, the system flagged it as an error. At first, no one even knew what they were looking at. It was small, covered in short fur. It moved in quick bursts, nose close to the ground, tail twitching as it darted between polished stone walkways. Several tall alien workers froze in confusion. "What is that?" one of them asked through the colony's translator network. The answer came from the only human currently visiting the station. "That," said Dr. Maya Alvarez, trying very hard not to laugh, "is a dog." The aliens turned their large silver eyes toward her. "A dog?" asked Supervisor Kethvar, his voice sharp with suspicion. "Your species transported an animal onto our colony?" "It wasn't supposed to leave the ship," Maya admitted quickly. The dog, completely unaware of the growing diplomatic problem it had caused, continued trotting happily across the plaza. It sniffed a decorative plant, sneezed, then began wagging its tail at a group of confused alien engineers. One engineer stepped back immediately. "It is unhygienic," he said. Another pulled up a scan display. "Life form mass, insignificant. Defensive capability, none detected. Intelligence, extremely low." The alien paused, clearly unimpressed. "So it is useless." Maya crossed her arms. "It's not useless." But convincing them was already proving impossible. The Kareth species valued efficiency above everything. Every organism inside their colony had a purpose. The plants produced oxygen. The insects maintained soil health. Even microscopic bacteria were carefully selected and monitored. And now, running loose inside their perfectly controlled ecosystem, was a random Earth animal. Kethvar's voice hardened. "This organism does not belong inside the dome." The dog, whose name was Rusty, ran in a wide circle before returning to Maya. His tongue hung out happily as he sat beside her boot. "See," Maya said. "Harmless." Kethvar tilted his head. "That remains to be determined." Several hovering security drones glided silently into the plaza. Rusty immediately noticed them. His ears perked up. His tail wagged faster. "Oh no," Maya muttered. Rusty barked once, excited, and sprinted toward the drones. The aliens collectively recoiled. "It is attacking," one shouted. "It's not attacking," Maya protested. "He just—" Rusty skidded to a stop beneath the drones, barking enthusiastically as if he had just discovered new floating friends. One drone scanned him again. "Threat assessment confirmed, none." Kethvar's eyes narrowed. "That makes it even worse." Maya blinked. "What?" "A creature with no purpose," Kethvar explained coldly, "consumes resources while contributing nothing. Such inefficiency cannot exist within our colony." Rusty sat down and scratched his ear. Completely oblivious to the debate about his survival, Maya stepped forward quickly. "Look, he's just a companion animal. Humans keep them around because they help with emotional stability." Several aliens exchanged glances. "Emotional stability?" one repeated. "Yes." Another alien checked a data pad. "Our species evolved beyond such weaknesses." "Right," Maya said dryly. Kethvar raised a long finger toward the drones. "Remove the organism." Maya's eyes widened. "Wait, remove." "Terminate." The word echoed across the plaza. Rusty tilted his head, watching the drones begin to move closer. Maya stepped between them immediately. "Hold on. That's not necessary. This colony cannot risk contamination," Kethvar replied. "It's a dog, not a virus." But the drones continued descending. Rusty wagged his tail again. To him, the floating machines still looked like toys. Maya quickly knelt down beside him. "Rusty," she whispered urgently. "Buddy, maybe don't run toward the murder robots this time." Rusty blinked up at her happily. Then suddenly, he froze. The change was instant. His ears lifted high. His tail stopped moving. Rusty's nose twitched rapidly as he sniffed the air. Maya frowned. "What is it?" Rusty turned away from the drones. Slowly. His eyes locked onto the far edge of the colony dome, where rows of carefully engineered soil beds supported the station's plant life. The dog gave a low whine. Then he started running. Fast. "Hey, Rusty!" Maya shouted. The dog sprinted across the plaza, weaving between startled aliens. Security drones pivoted immediately. Organism fleeing, one announced. Kethvar's voice rang out sharply. Capture it. The drones accelerated. Rusty reached the agricultural zone within seconds. He skidded into the soft soil between two rows of alien crops. Then he started digging. Wildly. Dirt flew everywhere as his paws tore into the ground. Aliens rushed after him, horrified. He is damaging the nutrient layers. Stop that creature. But Rusty didn't stop. He dug faster. Frantic now. Maya finally caught up, breathing hard. Rusty, what are you? The dog barked once, sharp and urgent. Then he dug deeper. Alarms suddenly flashed across the colony systems. Warning, soil structure disturbance detected. Kethvar arrived seconds later, furious. This is exactly why Earth animals cannot be trusted. The drones lowered into attack position. Rusty ignored all of them. He whined again and began clawing even harder at the same spot. The soil beneath him shifted slightly, almost like something had moved. But no one noticed, except Rusty. The dog barked again, louder this time, and kept digging. Deep beneath the colony dome, something enormous slowly stirred. Rusty kept digging. Soil sprayed across the carefully engineered agricultural beds as his paws tore deeper into the ground. The colony's perfect rows of alien crops were now scattered with loose dirt and broken root systems. Around him, alarms continued flashing red across the dome. Agricultural zone breach detected. Security drones hovered lower, their weapon ports slowly opening. Terminate the organism, Supervisor Kethvar ordered coldly. Wait. Dr. Maya Alvarez stepped forward again, raising both hands. Just give me 1 minute. The drones hesitated. Rusty didn't. He was digging faster now. His paws were moving so quickly the soil behind him looked like a miniature landslide. Every few seconds he would stop, press his nose into the hole, sniff deeply, then dig again even harder. Rusty! Maya shouted. The dog barked sharply but never turned around. Kethvar's patience was disappearing. This creature is destroying critical nutrient layers, he snapped. Your request for delay has already exceeded acceptable limits. Maya knelt beside the hole. Rusty, what do you smell, buddy? Rusty whined. A deep, uneasy sound. He scratched at the dirt again, then circled the hole once before returning to the same exact spot and digging again. An alien scientist stepped closer with a scanning device. This behavior is illogical, she said. The organism is exhibiting repetitive motion without clear objective. Maya shook her head. No, there's a reason. The alien raised an eyebrow ridge. You believe the animal possesses strategic intelligence? Not exactly. Rusty suddenly barked again. Louder this time. The sound echoed through the agricultural dome. He stopped digging just long enough to press both ears forward and stare directly at the ground beneath his paws. Then he backed up slightly and began digging again, even more frantically. Chunks of soil flew in every direction. Kethvar looked disgusted. This is chaos. Another alien technician activated the colony's underground scanners. If there is contamination beneath the soil layers, our systems will identify it. A thin beam of light swept slowly across the ground. The scanner hummed softly as it processed the readings. Subsurface analysis in progress, the technician said calmly. Rusty barked again. Then he jumped directly into the hole he had created and began clawing deeper. Stop it, one alien shouted. Maya leaned closer, suddenly concerned. Rusty, hey, calm down. But the dog wasn't calm at all now. His tail had gone completely stiff. His ears were locked forward. And his entire body was tense in a way Maya had only seen a few times before. The scanner beeped. The technician frowned at the display. That is unusual. Kethvar turned sharply. Report. There appears to be movement. Maya blinked. Movement. Beneath the colony. Several aliens exchanged confused looks. That is impossible, another scientist said. Our geological mapping confirms stable rock layers beneath this dome. The technician adjusted the scanner. The screen flickered. Then a new signal appeared. Slow. Heavy. Deep underground. Something large shifted beneath the colony soil. Maya felt a cold knot form in her stomach. Rusty barked again, louder and sharper than before. The scanner beeped faster. Life form detected, the technician said. Kethvar's voice dropped. Size. The technician hesitated. Unknown. That is not an acceptable answer. The signal interference is unusual. Something is distorting the readings. Rusty suddenly jumped out of the hole. He spun in a tight circle and barked furiously at the ground. Then he ran 3 steps away. Stopped. Sniffed. Then ran back to the hole and started digging again. Maya's eyes widened slightly. She knew that behavior. Oh no. Kethvar looked at her. What? Maya stood slowly. How deep are your colony foundations? 30 meters into reinforced bedrock. And below that? Natural planetary crust. Maya looked down at Rusty. The dog was now growling quietly as he dug. That was the sound that truly worried her. Rusty almost never growled. The scanner beeped again. This time the signal moved. The technician's voice rose slightly. The life form is changing position. How large? Kethvar demanded again. The technician enlarged the signal projection. Even with interference, the size estimate was disturbing. Maya felt her stomach drop. That can't be right, she whispered. Kethvar stared at the screen. The projected shape was enormous. At least several hundred meters long. Slowly moving through the underground rock layers beneath the colony. Impossible, one alien scientist said. Our surveys detected no megafauna on this planet. The technician swallowed. Our sensors appear to have missed something. Rusty suddenly stopped digging. Completely. Every alien in the agricultural zone froze. The dog stood perfectly still. His nose pointed toward the ground. His ears locked forward. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then the scanner alarm exploded with noise. Subterranean mass accelerating. The technician's voice shook. It's moving toward the colony. Several aliens stepped back in panic. How could we not detect this before? One shouted. The interference field around the creature is masking our instruments. Rusty barked furiously now. He ran in a small circle, whining loudly. Then he sprinted several meters away from the hole. Maya followed his gaze. The soil beneath the crops trembled slightly. Almost too subtle to notice. But Rusty noticed. The dog ran straight toward the shaking ground. Rusty! Maya shouted. He didn't stop. Kethvar stared in disbelief. The organism is running toward the threat? The scanner display flashed again. The underground life form was rising now. Fast. Heading directly for the colony dome. Maya looked at Rusty. Then back at the scanner. Then back at Rusty again. Her voice came out quiet. He's not panicking. Kethvar looked at her sharply. What do you mean? Maya swallowed. On Earth, dogs don't dig like that unless they sense something underground. Rusty stopped exactly where the scanner now showed the creature approaching the surface. He barked once. Loud. Then lowered his body, and began growling at the ground. The soil beneath him shifted again. This time everyone saw it. The technician's voice trembled. The creature is almost directly below that location. Rusty barked again. The ground cracked slightly. And far beneath the colony, something massive turned toward the surface. The ground moved again. This time it wasn't subtle. A deep vibration rolled through the agricultural dome, rattling the metal support beams above. Several alien workers staggered as the soil beneath the crops trembled like loose sand. Rusty barked furiously. Not playful. Not excited. A warning. Dr. Maya Alvarez felt it in her chest before she fully understood what was happening. Something enormous was moving beneath them. The colony scanner shrieked with overlapping alarms. Subterranean structural instability detected. The technician stared at the display in disbelief. The life form is ascending rapidly. Supervisor Kethvar's voice cut through the rising panic. Estimate time to surface. The technician's hands moved quickly across the controls. 30 seconds, maybe less. Several aliens backed away from the shaking soil. Evacuate the dome, one shouted. But evacuation wasn't that simple. The agricultural dome was one of the colony's largest structures, connected to multiple habitat zones. Thousands of colonists relied on it for food production. If something massive broke through the foundation here, the structural damage could spread through the entire colony network. And whatever was rising below them was very large. Rusty ran in tight circles, barking non-stop. Then he stopped directly over the point where the scanner signal was strongest. The soil beneath his paws shifted again. Maya's heart pounded. Rusty, get back here, she shouted. But the dog ignored her completely. His body had gone rigid. His ears were pointed forward. His teeth were slightly visible as he growled low at the ground. Kethvar stared at him. That animal appears to believe it can confront the threat. Maya shook her head. No, that's not what he thinks. Then explain it. The scanner projection expanded across the technician's screen. Now the shape beneath the colony was clearer. long, massive, segmented, like a gigantic armored serpent moving through the planet's crust. The technician whispered, horrified. It's at least 300 meters long. Another violent tremor shook the dome. The soil near Rusty cracked open slightly. Alien scientists stumbled backward. That creature could collapse the entire dome if it breaches here. Kethvar immediately activated the colony's defensive grid. Deploy seismic repulsion barriers. The technician shook his head. The interference field around the creature is disrupting our targeting systems. Rusty barked again, sharp and angry. Then he did something that confused everyone. Instead of running away, he stepped forward, directly over the trembling ground. Maya's eyes widened. Oh no! Rusty began barking down into the soil. Loud. Repeated. Aggressive. Kethvar stared at the dog as if it had lost its mind. The organism is challenging the predator. Yes, Maya said quietly. But not the way you think. The scanner alarm suddenly spiked. The creature is directly beneath the surface. The ground bulged upward. Dirt shifted violently. Plants tore loose from the soil. Aliens scrambled away in panic. Impact imminent. Rusty planted his paws and barked again. A long, furious burst of sound. Then something unbelievable happened. The underground creature stopped. The scanner signal froze. Every alien froze with it. Kethvar blinked slowly. What just happened? The technician stared at the screen. The creature has halted its ascent. Rusty continued barking. Short bursts now. Sure. Territorial. Maya's mind raced. This might actually work. Kethvar looked at her. Explain. On the scanner, the massive predator shifted direction slightly. Not upward anymore. Sideways. Maya pointed at Rusty. Dogs evolved on Earth to hunt and track burrowing animals. That predator is not comparable to Earth fauna. No, Maya agreed. But instinct doesn't care about size. Rusty barked again, pacing in a tight circle over the tunnel beneath him. Every time he barked, the scanner showed the massive creature shifting slightly underground. Almost like it was reacting. The technician's voice trembled. It's turning. Kethvar leaned closer to the display. That is impossible. Rusty suddenly growled. A deep, threatening sound. Then he lunged forward and barked again at the soil. The scanner signal moved sharply. The enormous creature twisted underground. Now heading away from the colony center. Aliens stared in disbelief. It's retreating, one scientist whispered. Another tremor rolled through the ground as the massive body redirected itself through the rock layers. Rusty barked again. And again. Each time pushing the predator farther away. The technician watched the display with wide eyes. The creature is abandoning its approach vector. Kethvar slowly turned toward Maya. You are telling me? He gestured toward the small brown dog standing in the dirt. That this insignificant animal is redirecting a 300-meter subterranean predator? Maya exhaled slowly. Rusty barked again, tail stiff, ears locked forward. On Earth, she said quietly, animals like him were bred to chase dangerous things out of underground dens. Another tremor passed beneath the colony. But this time, was moving away. The scanner display confirmed it. The massive life form was retreating deeper into the planet's crust. The technician whispered. It's leaving? Aliens stared in stunned silence. Rusty gave one final bark. Then suddenly stopped. The dog sniffed the ground again. Waited. Listened. Finally his body relaxed. His tail began wagging again. The terrifying tension in his posture vanished as if it had never existed. Rusty trotted happily back toward Maya. Panting. Proud of himself. Behind him, the scanner showed the enormous predator disappearing into the depths of the planet. Gone. The agricultural dome was silent. Thousands of aliens across the colony watched the sensor feeds in disbelief. Kethvar looked down at the small Earth animal now sitting beside Maya's boot. Just minutes earlier, he had ordered its execution. Now the same creature had just driven away a monster capable of destroying the entire colony. Rusty looked up at the aliens. Then wagged his tail. Kethvar spoke slowly. Human? Maya looked at him. What? The alien supervisor stared at the dog for several seconds. Then he said something no one in the colony ever expected to hear. Tell me everything about Earth animals. For several long seconds, no one in the agricultural dome moved. The ground was finally still. The terrifying tremors that had shaken the colony only minutes earlier were gone. The scanners showed the massive underground predator moving deeper into the planet's crust, far away from the colony dome. Yet the aliens remained frozen. All eyes were on the small brown dog. Rusty sat beside Dr. Maya Alvarez, panting happily, his tail thumping against the dirt like nothing unusual had happened. Supervisor Kethvar slowly walked closer. The tall alien looked down at the animal that he had ordered to be destroyed only moments ago. This creature, he said slowly, just prevented a colony disaster. Maya knelt and scratched Rusty behind the ears. Yeah, she said softly. That's kind of what dogs do. Rusty leaned into the attention proudly. One of the alien scientists stepped forward, still staring at the scanner tablet in disbelief. The subterranean predator has moved almost 2 kilometers away from the colony foundation, she reported. Another technician added, its movement pattern suggests avoidance behavior. Kethvar tilted his head slightly. Avoidance? Yes, the technician said. It appears the predator intentionally changed direction to escape this area. The alien supervisor slowly looked down at Rusty again. This animal frightened it. Maya gave a small smile. Not exactly. Rusty wagged his tail again and sniffed the soil where he had been digging earlier. Kethvar crossed his arms. Then explain. Maya stood up and looked around at the damaged agricultural zone. Dirt was scattered everywhere. Several crop rows were ruined. The hole Rusty had dug was nearly a meter deep, but the colony dome was still standing. That creature underground, Maya said, probably thought this area was another predator's territory. The aliens looked confused. One of Earth's hunting instincts, she continued. When dogs bark and dig like that, they're basically saying, this place belongs to me. Stay away. A scientist frowned. You are suggesting that the underground megafauna believed the dog was a territorial rival? Something like that. Kethvar looked doubtful. That predator is hundreds of times larger than this animal. Maya shrugged. Instinct doesn't measure size. It measures signals. Rusty barked once as if agreeing with her. Several aliens flinched. The technician checked the scanner again. The predator continues moving away. Its speed is increasing. Kethvar exhaled slowly. Then the colony is safe. But Maya was still watching Rusty carefully. The dog had stopped wagging his tail again. His ears lifted slightly. He sniffed the air. Then he turned his head toward the distant edge of the dome. Maya felt a small knot form in her stomach. What is it, boy? Rusty walked a few steps away and sniffed the ground again. He circled once. Then he looked back toward Maya. Kethvar noticed the movement. The animal appears unsettled. Maya nodded slowly. He's listening. For what? Rusty lowered his head and sniffed again. For a moment nothing happened. Then the scanner made a soft beep. Every alien immediately looked at the display. The technician frowned. That is strange. Kethvar turned sharply. What now? There are additional signals. Maya felt her chest tighten. Additional? The technician zoomed out the scanner map. The display now showed several faint movement patterns deep underground. Not just 1, 3, maybe 4. Slowly moving through the crust. One scientist whispered in shock. There are multiple creatures. The room fell silent again. Kethvar's voice became very serious. Our surveys detected none of these life forms. The interference field must hide their entire species, another scientist said. The technician looked nervous. One of them is turning back toward the colony. Maya looked down at Rusty. The dog was already staring at the same location. His tail had gone stiff again. Rusty gave a low growl. Kethvar noticed immediately. The animal senses it again. Yes, Maya said quietly. The scanner showed the massive underground signal slowly approaching the colony foundation. Not as fast as the first predator, but still moving closer. Rusty suddenly barked loudly. The sound echoed through the dome again. Then he ran back to the hole he had dug earlier. Without hesitation he jumped inside and started digging again. Dirt flew everywhere. The aliens stared in disbelief. He is doing it again, one scientist said. Rusty dug deeper into the same location, barking between every few seconds. Maya stepped closer. He's trying to warn them again. Kethvar looked confused. Warn them? Yes. Rusty barked again, louder this time. The scanner signal paused underground. Then slowly, it shifted direction. The predator turned away slightly. The technician's eyes widened. It's reacting to the animal again. Rusty barked repeatedly, digging and growling into the soil. Every bark echoed through the ground. The scanner showed the creature turning farther away, then stopping, then finally retreating deeper underground. The technician stared at the screen in disbelief. It worked again. The aliens around the dome began whispering. A creature the size of a small transport ship, scared away by a dog. Rusty finally stopped digging. He sniffed the ground carefully, waited, listened, then slowly climbed out of the hole. His tail began wagging again. Maya crouched down and hugged him tightly. "Good boy," she whispered. Rusty licked her face proudly. Behind them, the scanner showed the underground predators disappearing deeper into the planet. The colony dome was safe again. Kethvar looked down at the small animal quietly. Just hours ago, the council had called it useless. Now the same creature had protected thousands of colonists. The alien supervisor spoke slowly. "This organism," he paused, "will not be terminated." Rusty barked happily. But as the colony systems began powering down their emergency alerts, the technician suddenly looked back at the scanner. His eyes widened. "Kethvar." The supervisor turned. "What now?" The technician pointed at the screen. Far below the colony, even deeper than the others, a signal larger than all the rest had just begun to move. The scanner room went silent. Everyone stared at the screen. Far beneath the colony, deeper than any of the other creatures, a massive signal was moving. Slow, heavy, and far larger than the others. The technician's voice trembled. This one is different." Supervisor Kethvar stepped closer to the display. "How large?" The technician zoomed out the map. The signal kept expanding across the screen. Even the advanced scanner struggled to show its full shape. Finally, the estimate appeared. The room grew cold. Length estimate, over 800 meters. Several aliens stepped back in shock. "That is impossible," one scientist whispered. Maya felt her heart sink. If the earlier predator could destroy the colony, this one could destroy the entire settlement. Kethvar's voice became sharp. "Movement direction." The technician swallowed. "Toward the colony." The scanner alarms returned immediately. "Warning, extreme subterranean mass approaching." Across the colony, emergency alerts activated again. Lights flashed red across the agricultural dome. Rusty lifted his head. The happy look on his face disappeared. His ears slowly rose. He could feel it. The ground trembled again. But this tremor was deeper, slower, stronger. Maya looked down at him. "You feel it too, don't you?" Rusty gave a low growl. The technician spoke quickly. "The smaller predators we detected earlier are moving away." "Why?" Kethvar demanded. The scientist stared at the screen. "They are fleeing." The realization spread through the room. Whatever was coming now, even the underground predators were afraid of it. The scanner projection showed the massive signal slowly rising toward the colony. Directly beneath the agricultural dome. Maya whispered, "Oh no." Kethvar turned to the defense officers. "Prepare evacuation protocols." But another technician interrupted. "If this creature breaches beneath the central dome, structural collapse could spread through half the colony. Evacuating wouldn't be fast enough. Thousands of lives were at risk." Rusty barked suddenly. Everyone turned. The dog was already running toward the hole he had dug earlier. Without hesitation, he jumped back inside and started digging again. Harder than before. Maya ran after him. "Rusty, wait." But the dog kept digging. Dirt flew everywhere. His paws moved faster and faster. The ground beneath the hole trembled violently. The scanner alarm screamed. "Surface breach imminent." The soil around Rusty cracked. Plants toppled over as the ground bulged upward. Several aliens stumbled backward in panic. "It's coming up here." Kethvar stared at the dog. "That animal cannot stop something that size." Maya knelt beside the hole. Her voice shook. "Rusty, please be careful." Rusty didn't stop digging. Then he suddenly froze. His ears stood straight up. He looked down into the darkness of the hole. And barked. Not a normal bark. A deep, powerful warning. The ground shook harder. A crack split across the soil. Dust rose into the air. Then, everything stopped. The scanner signal paused. Right beneath Rusty. The enormous creature had reached the surface layer. But it didn't break through. Rusty barked again. Louder. Then again. And again. Each bark echoed down the tunnel. Maya held her breath. On the scanner screen, the massive signal shifted slightly. Kethvar stared in disbelief. "It's reacting." Rusty barked again, standing directly above the creature. His entire body was tense. But he did not run. He did not back away. He stood his ground. The alien scientists watched the screen carefully. The enormous predator slowly moved sideways underground. Just a few meters. Then it stopped again. Rusty barked even louder. The sound echoed through the dome. The creature shifted again. Turning. Slowly. Carefully. Then the scanner signal began moving away from the colony. The technician's voice rose with shock. It's retreating. The massive underground shape slowly turned deeper into the planet's crust. Each second it moved farther away. The ground tremors faded. The scanner alarms slowly went quiet. Rusty barked one last time. Then he stopped. He sniffed the ground carefully. Listened. Waited. Finally, his tail started wagging again. The danger was gone. Maya collapsed to her knees and hugged him tightly. You crazy little hero? Rusty licked her face happily. Around them, the aliens stared in stunned silence. The colony had just survived something unimaginable. And the one who stopped it was a small Earth animal they had called useless. Supervisor Kethvar slowly approached. He looked down at Rusty for a long moment. Then he turned to the colony technicians. Record this event in the Central Archive. One scientist asked quietly, under what classification? Kethvar looked back at the dog. His voice was calm now. Colony Guardian. Several aliens nodded in agreement. The scanner technician added another note. Recommend permanent protection status for the Earth creature. Kethvar agreed immediately. Yes. Rusty wagged his tail, unaware of the discussion. He simply walked around the damaged soil, sniffing happily. Maya stood beside him and looked around the dome. Thousands of colonists were watching the live feeds. Many of them were staring at Rusty with something new in their eyes. Respect. Kethvar spoke one final time. Human. Maya looked at him. Yes. The alien supervisor gestured toward Rusty. Your world produces very strange animals. Maya smiled. You have no idea. Rusty barked proudly. And from that day forward, the alien colony of Kareth 9 created a new rule in their official records. Never underestimate anything that evolved on Earth.